so this is our proof of concept presentation, just kind of what we've been working on in terms of our projects. Okay.
So basically, we're trying to create this AR experience with these spheres with 360 video mapped to them, so that you can walk into the sphere, and then the video will begin. It's kind of got a few of them, and it kind of creates this overarching point over the course of them. Sort of a new way of doing a sort of a clip show, I guess. This video
This
is kind
is
of
a quick
portraying
example of what we
something-
kind of want to do with it.
Yeah.
Go ahead and pause it for a second. Can you guys, Ethan, can you grab the volume at the bottom? Underneath the TV, there's going to be manual remotes. Can you see those? Underneath, hold on.
Oh,
There's also a volume.
arrow, so there's like 4 arrows.
Okay. Let's just crank it. It's, yeah.
You don't really need the volume.
Yeah, we're just trying to like
Okay.
create a visual.
Hold on, I lost picture. Okay. There you go.
Okay, so this is kind of what we want to do with it. And then when you can walk in and then you're in the space as like a sphere. And it looked really easy from this tutorial, but we ran into a couple of problems.
Yeah, we are currently still facing issues in the nature of the technology.
Well, our first problem is that we wanted to originally do it with videos, and we found out that Arrow does not work with video files. It only works with PNG and JPEG and like 3D files. And we tried to create GIFs, but they're too large of files.
Yeah, so we may still use the GIF idea. We're trying to see if we have to shift the idea, if we can try to make this work with video somehow right now. So
I'm going to jump in and say you can make it work with video. What you need to do is take your video files and export them as an image sequence, like a PNG sequence or a JPEG sequence. Then zip the sequence, compress it. Then in Arrow, reference the compressed zipped file, and it will load the image sequence in. So we can test that.
yeah, so we'll work with it.
And then we've tried, because the tutorial seems super easy, and we tried it and everything, but we couldn't figure it out. And this is kind of where we went wrong. You see, that is the like screen grab I took from the tutorial video, and their 360 image looked like that. And then when we did ours, it looked different. It looked like 2 different spheres instead of 360.
So another thing too, just a reminder, so those are the 2 feeds from your 2 180-degree cameras. What you want to do when you're in the editing program for the Insta360 is export an equirectangular image, and that's that map. It's also referred to as an HDRI, so it's like in a seamlessly loop, like on the interior of a sphere. So we'll get you through that process, but this is good back end of your.
We were trying to use Adobe Dimension to map the sphere with an image at least, and because of this issue, we haven't completely successfully done that. It has this black seam from how we formatted it, but we'll get that fixed.
Yeah, we're on the up and up, but.
Cool. That's cool that you opened up Dimension. How do you like that program?
It's I mean, it's a learning curve, but it seems interesting. It seems more straightforward than some 3D modeling tools I've used.
Accessible. Good.
Yeah.
So what kind of videos are you guys going to be shooting for to map into these spaces?
So ideally, we want to make videos that kind of are about and kind of portray like the nature of a technological shift in each sphere, historically, to kind of compare them to modern technological shifts that will appear as you move through the AR experience. So that's the idea.
Okay. And have you scripted out what you're going to be showing?
I'm currently working on the script. So yeah.
Yeah, we're still in the
Okay.
state.
All right. So you guys let's give some feedback to their process and questions and things that are confusing to you at this point, so we have a little bit of group think around this, so they're not working alone in a little hole.
So it's AR, so like on your phone, when you're
Yeah.
walking, you would just kind of walk into the sphere.
So with Adobe Aero, it should be able to, you said we can make an app and then you can expand the scene kind of anywhere. And so then like the spheres would appear when you like open the app and you can walk through them
Yeah,
from
ideally
wherever
they,
you're at.
they trigger the video as an animation somehow when you walk into them. We're not certain exactly how that works with Aero yet, but we're thinking we can do it from what we're researching.
How does that sit with you?
I like it. I think it's a good idea.
I think the idea of going inside of an object in AR is really interesting. It's an interesting approach to mixed reality. I'd be interested to see you actually execute that, because I'm wondering how the AR is going to process the interior sphere as opposed to the exterior. Because when you texture map things onto 3D objects, you usually do it with what's called UV mapping. And UV mapping, it refers to the coordinates on the surface of an object, and usually it's either inside or outside. So it's either mapping the image on the outside of the object or the inside of the object. So the outside of your sphere, were you imagining that to just be a neutral color, or having the image on the outside? And you might have to do two spheres, like one
Yeah.
that's mapped on the
Yeah, we use a
outside.
concentric sphere as like a shell.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We could see if we can do double-sided mapping on the interior, but even with mapping, doing a PNG video sequence, it's still gonna be a heavy file.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's gonna be
Gotcha.
important to make them little short snippets or cycles, things that
Yeah.
loop, and then using, maybe audio to supplement that.
Yeah. That's what you're talking about.
Yeah, we're thinking about maybe even making it mostly narration based instead of like dialogue heavy scenes, to kind of accommodate the fact that we probably can't do extremely long sequences.
Because people will be using their phones
Mhm.
and data, and if they're gonna be down, and then it takes a while for things to load.
Do you think if you had more time, you would implement it into like VR as well?
I mean, yeah, if we had more time, then,
Definitely.
yeah, I mean,
It might be easier to do in VR, to tell you the truth.
Maybe.
It's fairly easy. Do you
Would
remember we mapped the HDRI into the Sky Dome in Unity?
Mm-hmm. But like, how would like that work? Because I kind of really like the idea of like walking into the spaces, and if like that is already one space. Like
You would create, instead of mapping it onto the HDRI as a lighting, you would create a sphere
Okay.
and map it onto the sphere, and then walk into instead of making a collision object, make the object so there's no collision,
Oh.
so somebody could go inside of it. It'd be worth a test. I don't think we could do it in one session for sure. Walk you through that. Do you understand what I'm saying? You guys understand what I'm saying? What do you think, AR, VR? Which do you think would be easier? Yeah.
I like this idea of Aero because everyone has their phones, and if you can like make it into an app, it's easier to access. But with VR, who has VR goggles? And if you're making it in Unity, you're not going to be able to open it on the phone. So I think Aero is definitely like, with the time you have, great option. So.
And that's another thing with our audience, because we're trying to like put AI into perspective. I'm assuming if people have VR headsets, they're not typically the audience that we're trying to like get to with our message.
That's a great point, Emma. Awesome. Any other feedback for these guys? Okay. All right. Round of applause. And I just want to encourage you all to, like, as you're working out the technical side, don't forget about the aesthetics, right? Don't forget about the style, not only the script, but the look and feel that you want to get with that. Cool. All right, you guys want to hit? That was a great presentation, actually, Emma. That was really good to see the back end, and that's exactly where we want to be right now. Yeah.
Have you ever used this USB thing?
Which one?
Thing right here.
Um,
Win and easy. It's not coming out.
Oh, is it stuck?
Yeah.
Graciousness, Jeff. I'm gonna do a little rocking action. Wow.
Maybe we'll.
Go ahead.
Okay, so our proof of concept, at first we weren't getting much, but then I found this very handy dandy article tutorial on XR Bootcamp, and now we have a working XR rig and a Unity demo that should allow for full VR support using a Quest headset. It's not much, but there's basic locomotion and even physics on objects that you can grab in the virtual space. We hope we plan to expand more on this over time.
We don't know how to put this into the Quest 2.
We're gonna work on
Yeah,
that.
we have to figure out how to do that because we don't know. Because the only way I was thinking of doing it, I don't know if there was like a way like how we would publish it through like the one website we use, like Unity Play. I don't know if that's an option.
Probably through cables.
But I was thinking the easiest way would probably be through cables, but I don't know what like way to do it for our Quest 2.
Okay.
That's one way I was just thinking directly through the cables and having it run separately on a different computer.
Seen people do that
So-
before with their own projects, so it should work. There's no.
You
not
mean
no
off
error.
of the desktop? Yes, you
Yeah.
can run it off of the desktop, but I do think Unity Play would be a great option for remote
We can
viewing.
try.
Yeah. I think you have a question here with Alex.
Is that little hut in the corner, are you able to like crouch and go in that? Is that
You
the
could, there should be a hitbox. You can climb up the ladder. I don't know if it has a mesh or not.
Can you go into, you mean a collision? Can you go into player mode?
Yeah, 1 second. This computer isn't exactly meant for. Okay, it does have a box collider, so you should be able to. I'll be going to play mode. So it does run.
So when you guys come, I'm gonna suggest you use this computer over
Yeah.
here, which is an Alienware laptop.
Mhm.
Got just for that.
Because I wasn't able to use a Mac. At
Use the
time.
Alienware, yeah.
Slow, but I was able to test this 2 nights ago. It works perfectly. No
Awesome.
errors. And with the headset, should work perfectly.
So, okay, so did you go into game mode?
Yeah, I just did.
Oh, but then you came out of game mode.
Yeah.
Oh.
You
Yeah, I
can-
would kind of curious to see how you navigate it. So how do you navigate in game mode?
It only
on-
works with the VR controllers.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
There's no.
So it's no arrow
No,
movement or anything like
none
that?
of
Okay. So, okay, so how is this gonna relate to your concept, or what are some of the aesthetics that you're considering for production? Like, what are some of the things that you're gonna put in there? What are some assets and sound design and,
Probably just an environment that's, well, this is only a test to see like actually interactive things that have VR elements, like running in Unity to see if we can actually make a Unity project with VR. So it's probably gonna be what we're gonna do, since we're going down like the accessibility route, we're probably going more towards like mental health stuff. So a lot of VR is used in mental health. Like there's VR chat where people just go on there and just be themselves and play. So I think it'd be nice to kind of like either try to make like a VR chat world and import it in there and like make it like a little chill world.
mm-hmm,
You can just chill,
okay.
just chill place. So
So like a sanctuary type of, like,
Yeah.
yeah, cool. All right, great, excellent. Comments, you guys? Questions? How does this sit with you? This is where we need your brains. Unity, guys, what are you thinking?
Great, yeah. I love the integration between VR and Unity, and being able to do something like that is awesome.
I've used my VR for meditating sometimes, so that idea of the mental health aspect is really cool.
And I think like keeping it like plain, like you guys are, would probably definitely help with like nausea as well.
Mhm.
Not
yeah,
having it
it's not
very-
too much in there.
Yeah, not having anything fast moving or anything crazy. So
Nothing too bright because bright lights usually.
Yeah, so what you guys got is good so far, no complaints.
Comments? Jovan, anything?
I mean, like how you said, I like the mental health aspect of it. I'm a big advocate for mental health, so.
Any suggestions of things they could do that would make it appealing for you to go into this space?
Probably like try to make it look a little bit more. I don't know, like, are y'all trying to go for
This
like?
is only a prototype, this is just to see if we can
We're just
actually
getting
put it.
started on this.
Yeah, this is just to see if we can actually make it a VR compatible project in Unity and learn how VR works in Unity before we can actually like work on an actual thing that's more, this is just a test to be like, oh yeah, we can, this is how we can interact with something, and then here it's mostly just interactables right now and seeing how it plays through a VR.
Okay, so maybe like when y'all get done for like the mental health aspect, maybe you can try to incorporate some games or
Yeah.
like, not necessarily personality quiz, but you know, things
Yeah.
like that. So when people is in the space, they're using it for like the things that y'all want to use it for.
Mhm.
We probably put like some basic music in there, like maybe like a lo-fi.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's like the most basic thing I can think of is lo-fi hip hop in there. Something that's chill and relaxing, or maybe like if we could find a way, maybe multiple environments that you could pick from would be cool.
Yeah.
It's
Now
kind of
that'd
like
be fire.
pushing further ahead than what we originally planned, just have one space. So if we had something that was like, I want to be on the beach, or I want to be somewhere like in the forest or something, maybe something like that.
I really like that you're thinking in that direction because I was going to suggest that, like a UI when you log in, that it actually has like a dashboard, and you know, to kind of explain what it is too, just to contextualize it. It'd be good
Yeah,
for
we're
the
gonna have
demo.
to look into UI stuff about that. I don't.
It's an image plane that's mapped onto the camera. We didn't go over it in class,
it'd
but
be mapped in front. We just have to look about UI design, and then like that would require scripting for
the interactivity.
yeah. So that's something we'd have to look into, but we just need something.
That's
there.
good.
We just work off and see.
It's really cool. It's exciting.
Kind of touching on something, one of my comments is, make sure that's ADA compliant with your like graphic design and your UI,
Yeah.
which is actually a very positive thing for you guys, because there are like these standards of design, and that means you can just copy it, and you don't have to be super
Yeah, no, we're not. It's not gonna be like
with that aspect.
AAA studio graphics. You go around and no.
Yeah,
no,
more like
It's
the
just gonna like
explainers
here's a
and
button.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and here's a list and
Yeah.
just stuff that's not gonna be like all over the place. Just be like button here,
Yep.
UI description.
Yeah, then you can focus on the visuals and the experience. So
Yeah, I think that's what we're gonna be mostly focused on,
Yeah.
just the visual and experience rather than just like we're just gonna have a basic UI that could just get you to a movie.
Cool. All right, great. Oh, wait, Emma, you got something? You got?
Okay, it's kind of like the direction that you're taking it, it kind of is reminding me of Animal Crossing, and I know like a lot of people
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
use that
Yeah, I like that.
just as like a calming game, and
That's
so
a way of
if you're
interpreting
like,
it.
VR, Animal
yeah,
Crossing.
you're right, Animal Crossing, that's
Sorry.
like what I thought of. So if you wanna go in that direction, I think
That would be
it
interesting.
would like,
Yeah.
I think that
it
would
would
take us a
come
lot
across that
longer.
yeah, well, like
So-
not like all of the interactive stuff, but like
Yeah.
just like walking around, and there's like beaches and stuff.
Sorry, just to add on quick to that, so like with VR right now and AR, there's like training companies and like companies that have been like built to like train other employees are like a huge proponent for like the use of VR, because you can actually put someone in this situation without like having to risk anything, right? So like that's another thing I thought of too, like for maybe bedside nurses or something like that, putting them in those situations of like, okay, what would you do in this situation, and then having like scenarios design. I mean, obviously, you know, you guys are just two
Well, yeah,
people,
that's
but
like
for the
healthcare
future,
simulation.
Mhm.
It's a thing that they're starting to dabble in, where surgeons don't actually have to do live surgery and so on. You just kind of pair VR goggles and you play surgeon simulator. So
I'd like to hook you guys up with an alumni of our program called Ty. And Ty is now employed at the Sim Center and is doing that. So here on campus. So it's right downtown. Be great for you guys to see what's going on there. Okay, cool. Thank you. Let's give them a round. You got something? Who has something? You guys have something?
Probably just wait till Monday, just given the time we have to work on it.
Okay. Does anybody else want to present anything today? All right. So I'm going to start.
Yeah, I don't have really much to like show. Mainly all I've been doing is modeling, getting like. Mainly all I've been doing is like modeling and getting my initial set and scene created in Blender. But I finalized that and came out with some really nice renders. Let's say, I don't know if you can see that very well. Try that out. So, just like really nice setting, really nice realism, dynamic water, so everything's looking really good. And now that I've created that and I've got like this 3-dimensional setting created, now I'm moving into learning how to get these and this scenery into Unreal. And that is a big challenge because there's not a ton of workflow that is like really fleshed out when it comes to like bringing in super high poly scenes into Unreal. And also a lot of the stuff I did was procedural, so it all is like node based, which doesn't really matter if you know what that is. It just means that like it is working inside Blender in its own specific way, so when it transfers over to like a different software, that's not going to transfer successfully. So a big thing like for me is I've had to start thinking about projects not in terms of like creating the base model in Blender and then moving everything over into Unreal. You kind of have to think about creating it in Blender with the mindset of also creating it in Unreal. So instead of like if you see these, you can see there's a ton of foliage in the background. All that's taking up like millions of polys, and none of those are going to be able to transfer just because it's going to make the poly count way too high to be manageable. So when I transfer this to Unreal, I'm going to have to get rid of all my foliage and do it in Unreal instead. Same with the grass. That's a ton of procedural stuff. It also has camera culling, which is like, since this is so dense, when the camera is looking at it off here on the scenes, this is just like dirt. There's no geometry for grass or anything. So wherever the camera is pointing, it will render the grass, but it won't render any of the other grass along the plane, just for ease of rendering, speed, and time. But none of that's going to work in Unreal, so I have to get rid of that and redo the grass in Unreal. So that's been like the biggest challenge for me so far, is trying to like reorient my mindset into creating a project in Blender that is built for Unreal instead of creating a project in Blender and trying to make Unreal work for it. But yeah, so right now it's just a lot of watching tutorials, watching videos, finding what would work with my project best. So like reducing poly count, or I can also try to keep the whole thing in Blender because they do have, like I'm going for like a 360 headset kind of experience, and you can do that in Blender, do 360, but it won't be as interactive, obviously. So yeah, just kind of getting reoriented with my project and trying to work around some of the importing and exporting variables. And that's about it for mine. I've been working on I published my website too, so.
Did you? You want to pull that up? Get some feedback on it?
Oh, no, I can do that in Capstone.
Oh.
Alright, I don't take up that time.
Okay. So you guys
Okay.
have some questions for Ben, or comments?
Yeah. Cool.
Emma?
Okay, sorry. If you keep it in Blender, what like would be the interactivity for the 360 or for the headset?
So it would only be able to be stationary unless I animated the camera, and so like for this specific scene that I created, it's like 7 or 8 million faces, which on my computer at home that I built, which is very nice, it still takes a long time. So if I was gonna animate it, it would take, you know, per frame, it's probably like 7 or 8 minutes. So that means I really have to get it down pat and do something like that. But yeah, there'd be no interactivity. It's not like you can throw on a headset and walk around with the joysticks, which is what I was hoping for. You'd kind of just be stationary. But you can still create an ambiance. You can still do sound design, things like that to make it feel realistic and interactive. But that's all like up in the air at this point, seeing what I can do with Unreal. So yeah. Thank you for the question. Yeah.
You created this second design right here?
This right here?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is actually I can
And what software did you do that in?
Blender. So
Looks really good.
so hopefully it shows up. There we go. So yeah, so I took everything and like you can kind of see the layouts and things right here. Yeah, it's a lot of time and also a lot of like learning how to do things more manageably. Like you can see right here, there's only one tree, but in the background, you can see obviously there's dozens, and then you can see them in the front too on the glare from the windows. So a lot of like learning how to do instancing, which is super big with getting your poly count down because it's only rendering one, but then it's like casting it onto a different area. So it's like a nice cheap way to save poly count. But yeah, this is all made in-house in Blender. So
And that lighting too, is that something that you create yourself or that Blender kind of just does as opposed to assets?
yeah, so Blender, I use Blender 4.0, which is in like a beta form, so it's not technically out yet. It is out, but you know it's not fully out.
Yeah.
But they have a new sky system where like I know if you're in Maya or if you're using something else, you can use like HDRIs, so like casting like an environment and the lighting from that environment.
Yeah.
This is like their own in-house, not HDRI, but it's a really, really effective sun system and light system that you can actually geolocate as well, which is really interesting. So like this house has the specific lighting of what Grand Rapids would have in like mid-August.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, it's really interesting what you can do with that, and so you can get really precise lighting off of it. Instead, because like HDRIs can be tough sometimes, especially if you're using like 2 or 4K.
Yeah.
Just because, you know, especially like with clouds, if it's cloudy out, those will definitely get in the way and you're not gonna get like the correct casting. Whereas this, like I created these clouds in the background and I could move them so that there was like shade on the house and it wouldn't affect that light. So
That's what I was wondering, if that physical sky has clouds built
Clouds.
into it, yeah.
it doesn't have clouds, but I learned how to make clouds with a node editor that came out super realistic, so I'm pretty happy with them.
Using a particle emitter?
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
or not a particle emitter, just it's
Cluster?
like a diffuse and then some really obscure thing. I mean, I couldn't do it off the top of my head, but
It looks beautiful, Ben. This is just quite amazing, and I really do feel like your experience doing this is so impressive. It's so valuable, and it's just so great to see your portfolio and how you've broken down the back end. That's super important for somebody who doesn't know about 3D, right? If you came to the website, you might think, oh, that's just an AI-generated image, right?
yeah, that was my problem at first. Is I just included these, and I was like, this doesn't look like, you know, how do I prove that I did any of this? And so
The capstone people suggest that, or?
no, I just
You
took
just-
a day and then went back to it, and I was like, this just looks like an architecture firm, you know,
Yeah.
showing renders. But yeah, it's been been interesting. So
You can also, just want to suggest screen capping, you in Blender,
Yeah.
kind of moving around the space and
yeah,
toggling
definitely
between.
include some of those.
Is there interiors too to all of those spaces? Like you showed an interior shot?
Yeah, so I have. Oops. So in that one, so in the house, not particularly, just because I was trying, like with the grass and everything, that's tough to like, that's gonna bump the poly count a ton. So there is like, I put a TV on the wall, I put a couch in, I put a kitchen in, but it's not like fleshed out to where like, once you get in there, you see it's kind of bare.
Mhm.
But like, I did like this one, which these are just walls, you know, there's no outside exterior other than the lighting. But I was able to like really boost the realism inside just because everything else outside isn't created, and get some really, really nice shots, especially like with this realism, like you can kind of tell on this is fake, and it kind of gives off the feeling that it's not real. But like something like this where you have like the depth of field and whatnot, you can really create like a nice sense of realism in photography inside. So yeah, kind of on an interior and exterior, it's got to be one or the other right now for a project, because I don't have a computer that can handle both. So yeah,
Cool.
that's it.
All right.
Thank you.
Sure.
Alright, so we kind of just took my original pitch deck and just kind of, yeah, because it was pretty similar to what we decided on that we were going to end up doing. So pretty similar problem statement, individuals need to be comfortable with integrating artificial intelligence into their work because how popular and efficient the new technology is becoming, no matter how like scary it could be or it might be. It's still something that's happening, like you were saying earlier, and so it's kind of inevitable. We kind of just have to figure it out and see what happens. So what we're gonna do is create a bit of a short film that brings awareness to artificial intelligence and inspires people to want to collaborate with AI in a different and more efficient way. And so we've been kind of researching a bunch of different platforms, ones that we've talked about in class and ones that we just kind of found on our own, and just kind of having fun with it, not like thinking too hard about it. And we're starting to kind of like get specific on which ones we're going to use for our short film, but there's so many, like it's really hard to choose like every day.
Did you include those tests in here?
Yeah, it's on our Trello.
Yeah, we'll
Okay.
show them.
Okay, yeah, because that's what when you do a touch base with a client or just in general in the project, you want to show that working with it, yeah.
Yeah, so like I said, pretty much just reiterating what I've already said here. We are planning on doing some research, we've already done some, sharing our experiences with researching, kind of trying to document what we've been doing and like our process with it, because we're new to it, so I feel like it'll help others that are new to it feel more comfortable. And we are planning on kind of adding some tutorials maybe into our short film and showing that there is a partnership that's like available between humans and AI. Yeah. So I'll show you a couple things that we've been working on.
Yeah, so, and then I want you guys to incorporate, think of this as not like, you're not pitching the project to us anymore, we know what you're doing. This is you're showing us, these are some of the experiments that we've done. Sort of like, this is what we learned, this is the problems, this is what we're trying to overcome.
Alright, so this is just stuff, obviously this is us just like playing around on like with these platforms. This is not like official, like.
That's what you're
You know what I
showing, yeah,
mean?
it's literally like just rough, like very rough tests.
So here's something we made with Runway, just putting in a prompt. We found a cat. I'm pretty sure I put something more specific into it, and it just kind of had him standing there. And we tried to add some camera movements, and it kind of messed up a little bit. But that's a part of the process that we're trying to show, is that it's not always going to be perfect.
Do you remember what your prompt was?
For this?
Yeah,
It was something like super specific, like he's outside a coffee shop and a barista comes out and like gives him a piece of cheese or something.
try to document those, cause I think that'll be very valuable on the back
I think
end.
it is on like our runway.
Okay.
Like,
Oh, it'll
I
say,
think we
yeah,
can go back for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Maybe it's-
But like, just kind of like with Runway, it seems like the camera like is very like static. Like obviously it moves like a little bit, but there's not a ton of movement. So like that's something that we're learning. And this is a picture I took from Firefly and then put it into Runway. So it was just interesting that like not a lot changed, just like the panning. It's like not even that much of a pan really either.
Yeah, the way the light comes in here too.
Yeah.
That's kind of fun. Look at that. This is some things that I'm sure you've seen this online. It's like the Bing AI image generator. It's pretty much free, which that's also something we're trying to figure out. Is like what's free, what's like readily available to people, so that
It's
they
accessible
can
to everyone.
actually like use it themselves
Mhm.
and figure it out. So here's some pictures of Alaya as a Disney character. And some of the outfits that she was wearing. I wish we had a picture of like your outfit. It was actually really
so
weird.
did you put an image then as your prompt?
No, I just described it.
Oh, okay.
So you have a lot of characters with the Bing AI one.
Yeah. So
There's
just,
still a
like,
limit, but.
they have to be super specific. And then there's also, there's a limit to like how many words you can use. Also, sometimes I put something in and it's like, this is inappropriate, and I'm like, why? Because I'm just like trying to do the same thing, but I don't know. Here's some Firefly. Yeah, that's what we showed earlier. Just the picture. Now this is like what we've kind of been like working on recently, because it freaks me out, and I don't like it, but at the same time I want to like let it in a way and see like what can happen and like its capabilities. So we found a platform called PlayHT. I've never heard of it before. I don't know if you've heard.
No, it just popped up on your Google when you were looking at different softwares.
Yeah, so this is like I put in my own voice, like just like a voice memo of me like saying a couple words, and then put it into this platform, and it like came back.
Hello, my name is Avery, and I'm testing, like,
Yeah, so it's really scary and weird, and I don't like it very much actually, but
And then you did the next, you showed the next one. It was like, as like someone could use it like as people
Yeah,
do for
Mom.
like a prank call.
can you send me $300, please?
like what if my grandma got sent that? Like she might do it.
What,
What's up?
you didn't actually say that?
Oh no.
So like she put in her voice and then typed in a prompt and then it came like that.
Yeah, so I pretty much typed in what I wanted it to say, and it came out that. Obviously not perfect. Doesn't sound
But the
like it.
hesitation was really interesting, the
Yeah,
om.
I don't like it.
Did you put the in there?
Huh?
Did you put the in when you wrote it out?
No, it's just like adding things too, and that's really freaking me out. So yeah, that's something that I'm like really interested in playing around with, because we kind of want to have like something with like text and speech, something with photos, video, and then just kind of put it together in a way that kind of brings awareness to like some of these platforms a little bit better. And also PlayHT is completely free. I think you can put money in to make it better, or like.
You always buy
better.
more credits, yeah.
Yeah, but it's completely free, so anyone, if they have a clip of you from your Instagram, TikTok, saying a couple words, been kind of messing around, trying to see what stands out, or stood out to us and what we want to implement into our little short film.
So, and this is an opportunity, you've got all of these live people here listening to you. You are tackling a super huge topic. There's lots of video, people who are doing this on a daily basis, a lot of resources out there for this. What do you guys suggest that they can do to make their project unique, to make their project relevant to where they're coming from? Like, what would be some suggestions? Because it's going to need to be narrowed down. Like, for example, what sticks with me is that you were talking about how you're beginners, right? You're like kind of coming to AI for the first time. So a documentary or a film about being college students as first-time users with AI could be of interest. I don't know. What are you all, how are you reacting to this? How is it sitting with you?
You could, you could narrow it down to like a single domain. So like, if it's just gonna be character creation, or if it's just gonna be like the animation, and just focus on that specific aspect, because I feel like a ton is coming out every single day about different categories of art. So you're never gonna be able to like define a stable border for what's going on. But if you just focus on one, I think it would be like probably more manageable for you guys, and then you could dive real deep into that. Maybe it might help.
I was gonna say, because of the rate of advancing, just sort of making almost like a video diary of like every new technology that comes out with AI would be interesting, especially to see how it would age in the next like 10 years. And you see those TikToks of like high school in 1990, and then it's like, whoa. But especially at the rate that it advances, it's like that was only like 3 years ago, and now we have a hologram in front of us or something. So
Yeah, Jeff.
I think the idea of the AI voice generator is pretty cool. I think it's also simple. So if you wanted to do something where you change what you say in post or whatever. I've seen there's actually a movie like 2 years ago. I forget what the movie was called. It was pretty bad, but it was like two people on a radio tower stuck, and they changed their mouth movement with AI, and like they spoke different languages, and so they could release it elsewhere. So that's something that you could experiment with and maybe show like the problems with it. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I definitely like that too. I feel like we could also maybe come to like kind of use them and maybe make something that coincides together, like AI speech on top of like AI video kind of thing. But at the same time, I feel like that's kind of already happening right now. So I do like that though. I think I would love to hear myself be fluent in French. So maybe we could mess around with that. I don't know.
I think it's going to be important for you to choose, and we don't really talk about this in this class, but it's like every genre is available here, right? It could be fiction, it could be documentary, it could be experimental. Some people's work is clearly falling into one category. Yours is still sort of open-ended. Is it going to be fiction-based? Is it going to be documentary-based? That'll help too, to narrow it down.
For sure. Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah.
So y'all basically gonna make the short film using like AI footage?
First,
Yeah.
but yeah.
And also just like us learning along with it, kind of.
Yeah, kind of a mixture, I'd say.
So is it more like a documentary?
I think that's what we're leaning towards.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be capturing y'all making the stuff like for the video too?
Yeah, I'm thinking like voiceovers, maybe some like raw footage, but only because I feel like if we did make something that's just completely AI, it kind of takes away from the point we're trying to make of how we can collaborate with it. Like I don't want someone to just watch it and be like, and leave and be like, okay, well I'm scared because this video was all AI. You know, like I feel like kind of mixing it up
AI prompts, or is it just all gonna be random, or is it all gonna tie into your main objective and your main idea?
I mean, if we go down the route where it's like we're using multiple different platforms instead of just like focusing on one, I feel like, yeah, but I feel like if we just do one, then we'll probably just kind of make it be like kind of a documentary of us kind of learning and like seeing where we can go with like what we can do with that certain platform that we choose. So yeah, we're still figuring it out, but we're just kind of in the research phase right now, getting out of it a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like when we start editing, like the storyline will start to like come through a little bit more too.
All right. I'd like to see you guys start filming yourself more and like screen capping or doing like, it could be a series of vlogs, right? I mean, so it'd be cool to see like just like every day, just try a different tool, right? And start capturing, and you can do screen grabs, or you can just set up the phone kind of like I have right now, just getting it. I'll give you this footage too, because you can include that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. All right, Javon, ready? All right. Should I hit the lights? You can kind of see it. Yeah, you're just gonna you're showing boards.
All right, so this is my storyboard for my kind of, I'm gonna say comedic short film that I will be shooting. Basically, as y'all heard from my last time presenting, I just want to, show how the new world and the new technology we live in today, how it is for us as a college student, just outside of just class, just how you carry yourself in general as a person and as a human, with us dealing with all this new technology. It's all kind of new to us as humans, so I'm just trying to show, it's just life. But the first frame right here is gonna be like a shot of me in a bed, me waking up, before even brushing my teeth, take a shower, do anything, I get straight on Instagram. So like, look at other people's lives, see if I got any new likes, stuff like that. See if I can fulfill myself throughout the internet without doing the stuff I'm supposed to be doing during the day. And just comparing my lifestyle. They say comparison is the killer of all joy. So that's what I'm gonna be doing, killing my joy by waking up and doing that. Next shot will be like a time clock of me just, moving around on the phone, laying in the bed. Then I realized time flew past, now I'm late for class. So I rushed to try to get ready. I rushed to try to get dressed and get ready, make sure I'm straight for the day, make sure I'm able to go to class. Cause I know I'm not the only person in the room before that woke up, jumped straight on their phone, and like, damn, I got class in 30 minutes, I don't know, man, make it. So, you gotta rush yourself, cause you could have been prepared when you first woke up. Next, I'm on a bus, taking a nap, having like baby sleeping noises in the back. That's gonna be like the sound for that. And then like for this clip, it's gonna be like a Russian up-tempo type of audio get on the back. And yeah, for this, like on the bus, just sleep. You know, going on our way downtown to our downtown class or something like that. If people do have classes downtown. Next, oh yeah, it's supposed to say, I'm supposed to like show up late to class and forget that we had homework. So it's like, I gotta hurry up and go to ChatGPT. But like, before this scene though, right? With me being asleep on the bus, I want me to have a dream, and then I walk into our class while we downtown. Everybody got on like the VR headsets, and they just moving like a zombie like this, just walking around. So that's what I want the scene to be like when I'm asleep on the bus. And I wake up, whoa, that was weird. And then yeah, then I run to class, realize I got homework due, so I try to use ChatGPT to hurry up and do what I gotta do. So I know y'all ain't gonna say it because we in class, but try to use ChatGPT to get past the assignment before. So, you know, I'm just trying to relate it to as much as I can as us being, not only us in Michigan, us across the world as college creators, college students, trying to get to, you know, better things. It's easier stuff to do now. And then for this, we got like a green screen downtown at the studio we be at. So I'm be like taking pictures like I'm on a trip or like I'm on a plane or like I'm doing it, you know, like I'm living a lavish lifestyle. Cause a lot of times, stuff you see on the internet don't be real, and we don't think that though. We think everything is real. So I'm gonna try to make it seem like I'm out, just having millions of dollars and just just jacking up my time and jacking up my money. And everybody know I'm a college student, so it's so it's just like a funny thing. Try to like change my outfits throughout different videos. Then after last clip, like me posting the pictures and stuff at home, like, yeah, I'm over in Miami or something like this. Knowing I'm at the crib in Michigan laying down, and I was gonna like repeat, I don't know if I'm gonna do this, but like kind of repeat that process without using anything. So like, imagine if you wake up, don't get on your phone, you actually do your homework for class, just a better prepared day. I don't know if I'm gonna do that, but this is what I got so far. So yeah.
You already got somebody filming that for you?
Got somebody filming it for me? No, I don't got nobody filming it for me yet. I mean, if you want help. It's the help.
So they help you out with that.
Good. That sounds good. Put you down on the plan. Any more questions?
Or comments, you guys, because this is the opportunity when you show proof of concept, usually give a little bit of feedback. Yeah, Jeff?
Are you gonna be like scripting out dialogue, or are you trying to do improv?
I'm kind of more of an improv person. Like I'm kind of just a off the top guy, off the top of my head type guy. So most likely improv. I like doing stuff in the moments. I feel like it gives it like a more realistic feel. But yeah, I do feel famous right now. I heard she got 25,000 subs on YouTube now. Yeah, I take like.
I know.
You said 5,000 last week. What's going on?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a lot of global subscribers. It was interesting because Ben mentioned Indonesia and India, so a lot of the subscribers are coming from that region. Yeah, so they must be, and I'm tagging things with generative AI and things like that, so that might be pulling up.
Next,
Yeah.
next thing you know, you're gonna come to class in like a Lamborghini. And
I'm just glad to have my voice in there, right? Because a lot of the stuff I'm looking at, I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. Well, your channel doing good. You're doing something right.
Well, you guys are doing something right here. So I'm glad to be posting these videos of the class. I think this idea has a lot of potential. I think if you're going to do it Verite style, sort of like just real time in front of the camera, make sure you get multiple takes, right? Because when you're editing, that's when everything comes together and you want to make sure you have different takes, so different versions, right? So don't expect to nail it the first time, even though you probably will nail it the first time, because that's the way it happens with improv. Still go through a couple takes. So when you do get your shots, I'd suggest you run through it. Doesn't seem like it's too complex, that you run through it sooner than later. And then especially the green screen shot will get that going so you can start to composite some of those in there and get a vibe. So what you want to do is get a very rough, blocked-in edit of your shots, and then if you need to go back and reshoot, right? This didn't come out right. The lighting in this doesn't look good. I'd like to compose this a little bit differently now that I have the rough edit in. You can go back and do another shoot. So just keep that in your production schedule to do your rough and get it in place, and then go back and sculpt your shots a little bit more if needed, right? That's only because you're planning on doing it more improv style, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Other comments you guys have? Anything? No? You ready? Okay, you ready to jump in? Okay. All right. Cool. So it's interesting though, since you do your, let's give a little bit of a round, yeah? Since you do your podcast, but you're not going to incorporate that into the video.
Oh, I could do that.
Yeah, because you do every day, right? Those little inspiration. Yeah.
Ooh, that'd be fire.
Yeah.
Fire.
Yeah.
Let me write that down. That'd be fire.
Yeah, because you're shooting every day. So I think that's why I'm suggesting the rough edit, get something in, then we can keep reshooting till you sculpt something that looks really, takes it to the next level. Yeah.
Would it be okay for me to sign you out, sign me in?
Yeah.
Go ahead and sign me up too, right?
And then Jeff, I think you guys are the final presentation then. And Alex, how did that work out? Are you going to be able to present in the gallery then? 'Cause I saw in the presentation.
I'm gonna talk to Jeff, and we might do a different place, like, might not even be a gallery, just, someplace where there's like a lot of people, just like not paying attention, or just on
Okay.
their phones.
Well, I guess we'll talk about it in a second. I was just responding to the presentation that I peeked at this morning. So,
So a lot of this week is going to be used for like actually building the map and getting into Unity and everything. Me and Spencer have just been doing a lot of like blueprinting and grabbing of assets and stuff. You can kind of see that here. This was mainly what we did last week, where after we were done with kind of the blueprint or the idea of what the map was going to be, we just started going into the Unity shop and pulling out all of these assets and kind of getting them put together so that we had a spot where they were easily accessible and easy to be dragged into Unity. So the idea when we were blueprinting it was kind of like this resort villa and had some ruins, forest, or like a fortress in the middle, something kind of like on an island. I'll get down to the inspiration on the next slide, but a lot of the inspiration behind our map came from the Black Ops 2 map Cove, where it was kind of like this, it was like this deserted island that a plane had crash landed on. It was kind of almost like the movie Lost, like they had, or not the show Lost, they had like taken that setting and kind of made it a first person shooter map. Also this one down here in Black Ops 3, this is Hunted, which kind of had very mixed way of traversing around the map, which we thought was pretty cool. So sticking with Black Ops 2, Black Ops 2 back in 2012 was actually set in a time frame of 2025, so actually only a year from now. But what Black Ops 2 did that was super interesting to me was before in the Call of Duty franchise, we hadn't really seen anything map-wise taken out of like a battlefield setting, like a traditional battlefield setting. So what BO2 did was not only did they make the first Call of Duty that was kind of based in the future in 2025, but they also had like a variety of maps that were kind of unusual to like a battlefield setting. Like you can kind of see they had a paintball map, they had this yacht setting, there was a skateboard map as well. They had a map where Tokyo had just experienced like a volcano eruption, which was super cool. And then they have like this train setting, and then this was one of the remake maps actually. So from Black Ops 1, they had this map called Firing Range, which again was just supposed to be like a training ground for soldiers. But in Black Ops 2, they remade the map where it was called Studio, and basically each lane in the map is like a different backlot in Hollywood, which was so cool. So a lot of the map and the reason why I went into this was because the Call of Duty franchise kind of straying away from this in terms of their map, and I think we see a lot of this kind of post Fortnite where they're started indulging in Battle Royale and more of their like battle passes and stuff, and they kind of drew away from that original gameplay experience. So seeing that as I was growing up, I just thought, what would it be like to kind of be a map designer, maybe a game developer, whatnot. So that's where I took my project this year. So getting into the assets, we wanted to do super low poly structure because like Ben had mentioned, getting things into the game engines and kind of rendering things, it's very tough and we have limited time frames. So using low poly structures was something that was huge for us. Gameplay movement and like figuring out, do we just want the characters to run? Do we want them to be able to slide or jump or wall run or things like that, maybe even swim? We wanted it to be simple but expansive. So moving forward this week, we're taking all the assets that I showed you in Trello and we're kind of loading those assets into Unity and now starting to build the environment and the setting and structure the gameplay and how the map moves itself. So in the challenge phase of things is we were talking about maybe not just playing against AI players, but playing against multiplayers, kind of getting 2 people in there, maybe even up to 4. One of the things that we had talked about was if there's going to be coding that we need to do. I don't have a lot of experience with that, maybe Spencer does. And then first time user error, just kind of within Unity, this is my first time using it, so there's bound to be some issues and challenges and stuff that we're going to face. He had plugged this down here. I have yet to see this, that I think he had made a game before, and this was kind of his. Yeah, so this was what he had built before, and when he came on, he was like, hey, I have some experience with this. I'd really like to help you out with this, and I said, yeah, that'd be great. So this is something that Spencer had actually created in
Media One.
This first poly pack
Yeah.
is something that we're actually going to be structuring the game after too. So you can see in this, he's kind of just developed like a setting where you can kind of just go around, kind of like a firing range. We're trying to get it to where if there's at least AI players that will kind of push back at you, if not multiplayer setting. So that's something we're looking into in the coming weeks.
Cool. So, comments, suggestions?
I do like the idea. I feel like it got a lot of potential, and I feel like if you can have people like have the AIs shooting back and be fired, yeah, I feel like that'll really take the project to the next level.
Yeah, bringing Spencer on has really helped out in terms of creativity because at first I was thinking, well, maybe I can just get a design down, maybe just like a 3D sample, or maybe not even fully fleshed out thing, but then we started talking about actual gameplay and everything, and so that's really pushed our creative process. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really play video games too much anymore, but I remember a couple years ago, well, probably like 6 or 7 years ago, I saw a YouTube video that was kind of breaking down like the logic behind map creating, and like there's like 2-lane maps, there's 3-lane maps, and I can't tell you anything about it specifically, but like that would be a cool thing to incorporate, like as you're building the map, like detailing like the logic behind why you're placing things in certain places instead of like building something that looks cool. Also, it looks cool and there's logic behind why these things are placed there.
Yeah, right.
And then like kind of doing like an overview, because like even this could just be like a whole project, not on like the actual finished product, but just like the logic behind what the finished product would be.
Yeah, like how
and
it
that
was
would be
made.
and that would be really cool to see too. It's just like, you know, people are playing and they don't realize that the game developers have created it in a certain way because they understand how their brain's gonna work.
Yeah.
And the first things they're gonna see and their initial reactions to things. So that would be a cool like topic to talk about too.
Yeah, thank you. Awesome. Thank you guys.
Yep.
Okay, here's our group's proof of concept. This is the title, running title for now, except low cookies. So we've all been taking different roles in different directions and stuff. Personally, I've been looking into other projection mapping installations, gathering comps and creating mood boards. Cody's been up to exploring touch designing, and he created the videos that you're gonna see in the next few slides. That was kind of like an old direction we were going with. And Alex here has been our mainly producing. He's been talking with Calder Art Studio. He's also been mastering the use of projectors. So yeah, we've got a good team here. We've all been kind of up to different things. So here's some work that Cody figured out in Touch Designer. So this is used for like live concert effects and music videos and stuff. It's a very interesting program. Yeah.
What was that effect, Cody, that you were working with there?
It was just a, forgot the exact name of what it was, but it was just a tutorial that I found, something about changing the geometry or something of the image. But yeah, I just used only one tutorial for all 3 or more or whatever images that I used. I was using my own images and just replacing it with the effect and kind of messing with it to try to kind of change it a little bit. But yeah,
Touch designer.
what is Touch Designer?
It's a good question. Great.
I don't know if I can give an answer to that. It's
Like node-based editing.
yeah. It's kind of like you know, in like files or whatever, you have like your C drive, and then inside your C drive you have more like files, and then in those folders you have more folders. It's just like that basically. But
It's a lot of very niche editing, like
yeah.
digging into this project, we knew we wanted to go in a specific direction where like the images seemed corrupted. For those of you who know what data moshing is, or just really messing with like the actual infrastructure of the image, that's the sort of effect that Touch Designer gives off. You can kind of see all of the different modules, and it's very intense. It's very intimidating when you just look at it from a beginner's perspective. There's a very high learning curve, but I think Cody did a really good job with the images.
Yeah, we definitely want to find a way to incorporate Touch Designer effects in some capacity with this project, but we've kind of taken a new direction here. So we aim to provoke contemplation on modern digital habits, prompting viewers to reflect on their own screen time and the implications of constant digital engagement on their personal connections and self-awareness. And yeah, all that to be said, it's going to be something along the lines of this, where we have real people we record, and hopefully get 10-15 minutes and put that on a loop, with the same lighting of like you'd see in a Jubilee video or some like white background. And we plan to screen record For You pages made from brand new accounts with brand new emails for specific genders, ages, personalities, because we were doing some tests in class and there's some really interesting stuff that just appears as a first-time user, and it changes for each age group. So I think that the screen recordings themselves are going to tell us something about the algorithm, and then with the juxtaposition of people scrolling, you can also think about how that relates to their personality and so forth. And this also is a lot more manageable for our team and our time. So yeah, we feel more confident about doing this. But just imagine, hopefully we get Calder. That's ideal. But having projectors in there alongside some photography from Cody. Cody's gonna do some photography, and you know, some graphic prints or some additional artwork. But
You trying to access your board?
No, we're looking for our
Oh, there we
board.
go.
Yeah. And those are all videos. I uploaded those videos.
okay, here's some core videos.
This was sort of the inspiration for the Accept All Cookies title.
The internet and technology created an idea of infinity, and the reason why life is beautiful is because it is fundamentally limited.
Today, we're going to talk about the metaverse, but it's clear now that we didn't do enough to prevent these tools from being used for harm as well.
This may be like the last interaction we have, and there's something beautiful in that.
Have some words about these videos or? So hopefully we can get that same emotion story from those. And yeah, our next steps, you know, logistics, and more logistics. Our big question right now is where are we gonna do this? And then finding extras, filming on the green screen, compositing it, and then from there we're just gonna export out, map it using After Effects. But yeah, logistics. So that's where we're at. Are there any questions? Or ideas for locations?
Yeah.
Rebecca, you want to do a video?
Yeah.
Are you guys gonna create your own channel then too?
I mean,
For what?
for just this.
For the content that you create, are you gonna upload it?
I think a video of the space would be cooler than the actual video.
Okay.
Like with people in it, so maybe.
You mean documenting it in real time, the projection?
Yeah, people's reactions.
So what kind of experience do you want the viewer to have? That would really be contingent on what kind of space you're in.
Yeah, it really depends on where you are. I think it belongs in some like artsy type place, because then you think more about it than like just having it in public.
I guess I'm a little bit confused. So you just like kind of want to see like different people's algorithms and like how like their background affects the algorithm, or like.
Well, we're gonna have basically a room full of people just scrolling on their phones,
Okay.
and they're gonna be separated by like divided by the screens. And yeah, we'll talk about or have some text or something about what the algorithms mean. And these aren't actual people's For You pages. I pitched to some people and they're kind of worried about having the For You pages up there. So yeah, I think it could tell us something interesting about what it just shows to people off the bat.
So what do you want the user to get from the experience?
I'd say like a reflection on their own lives and how they use their time.
Okay. So you're thinking about a gallery space, but then Alex, you were kind of saying before that maybe you're thinking about a location, specific location, or are you guys still discussing that?
Still a work in progress.
Did you get to talk to Dulcie, the curator here?
I was gonna send her an email based on like what you guys said today.
Okay.
I think like an important part of like curriculum projection art, and like art in a space is the space that it's in. So if it's just like, I mean, obviously like the Calder art, it would be good, but to have it in a place that like would add even more meaning to like the video itself, to the projection itself would be good too.
Can you think of any spots on campus that you think would be good?
No, not off the top of my head.
Yeah, I thought you were thinking about that long hall that is just this blank white like canvas. Yeah. And it's a transition from one space to another too, and it's right near the tech showcase. So you could conduct it like a gallery opening, but it's site specific. And people are just walking by. Mm-hmm.
A public place might be cool. Like, without a lot of traffic. Just cause the, like, downstairs, there isn't like that much traffic, I feel like. It's just nice.
Like, where are you thinking? Like a different, like more upstairs in the library?
Yeah, like, we're like even like, not necessarily like the clock tower, but like a lot of people walk past the clock tower. So like something like that, like the library could be cool. Like just using one wall in the library, unless you maybe want to do the 3-wall thing.
I think we could do one wall with this. That'd be fine.
Any other comments, feedback? All right, cool. We'll look forward to seeing where you decide to go. Yep. All right, so at this point, it's really pretty much about gathering 444. It's a good time. Gathering your assets and really pulling together your production schedule. So if you guys notice here on our Trello, let me just come back to it. Here we are. Whoops. These all scooch over here. Yes, did somebody have a question? Oh, Evan, did you present? Did you present? Do you have a presentation? Plan on presenting next week, okay? Because we're only 5 minutes in. All right, so here we are. We're in week 7. So week 8, we've got one more day. We're going to meet here. When we meet here next week, we're going to talk about documenting behind the scenes. Everybody should be doing BTS of what they're doing. Whether it goes into your final project, it will definitely go into your portfolio. So screen capping in Unity as you get in. You guys, it's going to be central to your documentary. You guys, Jeff, when you guys are doing your project, your location scouting and maybe even having conversations about the topic could be interesting. We're going to have another week, and that week is going to be important for setting up your shoot. So I would say, like, Jovan, Jeff, you need to shoot some stuff. You guys, I know, are doing some things. You should definitely schedule for week 8 some of your production, okay?